That's the vibrato there.
Yep, there you go.
The rest of the guitar, not the strings. You shake the guitar.
There you go. That's how it goes. What's going on, everybody? SeanPierceJohnson here. We're back here in the studio, and Dakota has returned, of course. How's it going, buddy?
Pretty good.
You've brought us some pretty cool pedals this time. We're going to have a little bit of a CE-2 bonanza today. I'm going to let you kind of go over what you brought, and then I can explain what I've brought to the table. There's a bit of a concept here.
Yeah, I like what we're doing today. So I brought the CE-2, the first gen, which is a silver screw long dash, black label. We'll get a shot of it. It's got the box and paperwork and all that because that's where the tone is. It's hidden in the box.
The tone is hidden in the box. And, and as a vintage pedal nut, you know, when it comes to those things for me, I'm a sucker for the box. Hence why I took his Session Man. The
Session Man, by the way, real quick to jump into that pedal was new old stock, meaning that it was never played. That is the second pink vintage pedal that I found like that. I found one on tour. I was in South Carolina at a pawn shop music store, and it was in a glass case with a bunch of other Boss pedals. And I saw it, and I was just like, they haven't made that pedal in like 25 years, and it was literally in the box, and it absolutely was new old stock. And I think that one even had the battery as well, which we're doing something with that.
Yes, and by the way, that all fits because there's chorus in the Session Man.
Yeah, so there you go. But anyway, so this one is it's super clean, and it's got the box and all that stuff, which is nice. And then the next one is the CE-2. Now that is a green label Taiwan model, but it's a really, really early Keeley Mod, and I know you're a Keeley guy.
Yes, I am.
I've been following Robert Keeley for years. Super nice guy. Love his pedals. Love his mods.
One of the best guys and companies in the business. Like their renaissance has just been something really special to watch.
Yeah, everything they're doing, like, and it's. I love the we were just talking about the Fuzz Bender?
Yes.
That I tried that at NAMM. That was awesome. I got the Loomer from you.
Oh yeah.
Which is cool. But this one, this is one of those crazy stories where I found this pedal, and not only did it have the box, but let's get a shot of it.
Yeah.
This Audio 6L6 business card.
His original business email address.
Yeah.
And the work order for the mod.
Yeah, everything. It's when I find that stuff, that's
time capsule status, right?
Yeah,
there.
it really is like you don't see that stuff, and it's not like it's not like that pedal's worth crazy money because of it, but like if you're into it, it's definitely cool, like history to share.
Yeah, definitely.
And then let's get to your pedal.
Yep. So, obviously going with the CE-2 theme, the two-knob chorus idea, I've thrown in my reissue Way Huge Blue Hippo Mark II, which does have the Panasonic chip inside it. They made a limited run of these about 3 years ago. I know they do a version now that's in their smalls enclosures, which don't have those Panasonic chips, but it was kind of a big deal. But the price was right, and it was there, and it sounded good. And it's loosely based around that idea of the CE-2, that like chewy kind of analog chorus kind of thing. And we've been messing around before. We've rolled camera, trying to get tones, and we've basically tried to set the knobs to get the same kind of sound from each of these pedals.
Yeah.
And immediately as we play through them, we can hear differences. We can hear all sorts of different changes between the three versions.
Yeah, we dialed in, tried to get a similar rate and depth for each one. Honestly, and what we based it off of was setting the silver screw at both knobs at midnight.
Right.
Because with most CE-2s, to me, they are such a simple pedal where you just put both of them at midnight, and it has that perfect amount of subtle chorus, and then you can have the depth go up a little bit. Sometimes I'll make them go outwards, like a little bit slower, but a little more depth.
Yeah.
One thing I forgot to mention, the CE-2, that's the Keeley Mod, has the Speedy Mod.
Okay.
And if you guys are familiar with that, basically, it keeps the original amount of speed in the pedal. You don't lose anything, but you can gain it, or it adds it up a lot where it just goes crazy, like almost Leslie, like warble kind of thing.
Yeah.
I want to say one of the guys from the Red Hot Chili Peppers had a couple on his board, and I remember seeing one that had like a Leslie's kind of sound and then like a normal kind of sound.
Okay.
It was in like a rig rundown a while ago.
Okay.
I just thought that was cool. Like,
yeah,
there is a difference with that mod. So, I mean, you saw how many CE2s I had at the show.
He must have had like five. Like, who needs that many CE2s in their life? This guy does.
I needed to have one of each version to test them all out and see what I liked the best. Well,
nerd
for sure.
Well, to kind of give you guys a rundown of how we're doing the setup today, we're doing something a little bit different, which of course we kind of are. I have to tip the hat to, of course, the guys from That Pedal Show. I'm not using my G2 for this board because it would just be too much to take apart, but we do have my Excel Audio Effects 8 Command Center, which we're basically using as a loop switcher to bring in all the pedals in and out. Both the CE2s, the Silver Screw, the Keeley Mod, and the Blue Hippo all have their own individual loop on the looper that we're able to bypass entirely, just go straight into the front end of the orange Rock Reverb 100. We also have that running into the Waza Tube amp expander. I got the Chaos Crescendo for the TC Flashback 2 running my signature tone print, which is kind of like tape echoey kind of stuff. And, you know, we're just having some fun trying to see what it is about these that makes these pedals so special. The original one, and then variations on that, because we have our origin, and then we have various points in that circuit's history of its existence that things start to veer off course a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't know if I would put it as like veering off course, but there's definitely an evolution in the sound. Like, to me, the original Silver Screw stuff probably sounds best. The Black Screw ones sound pretty much just as good.
Yeah.
This one in particular sounds really good, and I really love that pedal. But there's something about it where, like, the Keeley one is a little more hi-fi, and the Blue Hippo, I get what they were going for, cloning the CE2, and it just kind of sounds like a modern take on it. So like, it all makes sense, and it's not like one's better than the other. Yeah. Let's get to hearing it.
Yeah. First, we're gonna go ahead and go to the clean tone. Gonna unmute us, bypass the effects commander, and let's hear the Rock Reverb's clean tone with your guitar.
Real quick.
Yes,
shout out
guitar.
Duncan.
Yeah. Shout outs to Seymour Duncan, powering the pickups in both the guitars on the single coil and humbucker front today.
Yeah, this guitar has quite a bit of history. I've played it a little bit, as you can tell.
Yeah, just a little bit.
And yeah, this has been used on a bunch of cool records. Originally, you know what's funny is this had a different pickup in it. Recorded an album with a band, and the guy loved that pickup so much that I gave it to him and I had to get a replacement. And this one's all like, it's all rusted and just, it totally works. But shout out to Seymour Duncan. They've always been cool to me. I've always loved their pickups, and the amount of innovation that Seymour has done, and MJ's like the coolest person too.
Yep.
Everything they've done. So quick shout out and let's play.
All right, let's hear this thing.
This is the Rock Reverb.
Yep. And now we're going to bring in the Silver Screw.
Yeah, knobs at midnight. I'm going to turn the depth up a little bit.
It sounds so good.
Now this is where it gets to that warbly territory. It just starts right around here.
Yeah. That really does put a lot of choruses to shame.
I've never used that ever in anything I've ever recorded or played.
But that sounds
But it
really
sounds cool.
good. Yeah.
And you can do it. But honestly, like, how can you beat this? Just straight at midnight, just straight up. Now, in contrast to that crazy amount of warble that we just heard, but right here, I'm gonna play a riff and bring it in and out real quick, like
go for it.
Just something like a. Just adds a little bit of shimmer and a little bit of meat.
That's that dimension thing too,
Yeah.
where you can do like a track in the studio, running the CE2 on one, and then have a dry track, layer that in and out however you see fit, and it's just
Yeah, and a quick thing, Johnny Winter used to have one pedal, and it was a CE2 that was always on, just a little bit like that, and it was just like that's how he had it live.
Nice.
And I didn't know that, and once I saw that, I was like, that's really cool, because I wouldn't expect that. You don't usually incorporate the chorus pedal blues.
No, absolutely not.
But and the fact that it was like kind of always on just added that little bit of, like I said, a little bit of shimmer. It's perfect. And
now let's contrast that to the Keeley Mod, though.
Yeah,
because they are very different animals, although they share similar guts.
Yeah, like I said, this is the green label Taiwanese version, which it's nothing bad. I dig it, but I've always been like a black label Japanese guy, and you saw that I have the Quad Zero number one, which is like that one sounds pretty good too. But let's check out this one.
Yeah, let's do bypass, and then we'll turn on the Keeley, and then we'll swap back.
So like just there, what I hear is, it's a little bit more shimmery on this.
That's got that warmth.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And it's not that there's a bad thing. It's just like they're different.
Yeah.
If I wanted to have more like 80s like whatever that Yes song is, that
Owner of a Lonely Heart.
That's that. I feel like that's that. That's the Keeley maybe for that one. Like. And this would be maybe the Silver Screw is more Smith's.
There's something to what you're saying in that like the subtlety and warmth of this. The Silver Screw is gonna fit better for that kind of like maybe cleaner playing of like a certain era.
Right.
Especially like that late 70s, early 80s with the alternative bands and the early goth bands. Mm-hmm. Whereas the Keeley one, to me, sounds a little bit more hi-fi, but has just a little bit more of like, a little bit more output. I kind of feel like when we kick on the Silver Screw, it kind of doesn't do much to the signal other than modulate it.
Yeah, I'll just do a couple chords.
But, as we've made the point, neither one sounds bad. It just depends on the context of what you want to put it into. Like it depends on the player, I suppose, is the context.
And the track. Like I would put the Silver Screw more towards something like more subtle and warm, and I would put the Keeley for something that wanted a little bit more cut and a little more hi-fi, a little bit like treble is the wrong word. But, but you get what I'm going for. Yeah,
totally. So now to compare it, then we're gonna take it to the more recent example now with the Blue Hippo, being that this reissue was done like 2 or 3 years ago. You can still buy, as I said, the Smalls version. It's out there. So let's hear the bypass signal, and then we'll go to the Blue Hippo. it really does.
There's no complaints.
No, absolutely
it's just
not.
the wrong color.
Well, let's hot swap back between. I want to hear the Blue Hippo against the Silver Screw. So we'll start with the Blue Hippo.
All right.
I mean, like, neither of those suck.
No.
Both of them sound really good, and I definitely feel like you can sense the history of these two being connected in some way. They just have their own little, like, quirk about it.
Yeah, I mean, they sound like they're from the same family.
Exactly.
It doesn't sound like what's the purple Ibanez one? The CS9?
Oh yeah.
Like that to me doesn't sound like a CE-2. And I know people like have compared the two, and that was actually the first pedal I couldn't afford a CE-2 when I think that's
so you bought the CS9.
Yeah, I think that's why I had so many. It must have been like a subconscious thing.
Oh.
Like we were talking about it. Like when I was in high school, I would just geek out on pedals and like look stuff up online. And I remember, and I remember going to the Keeley site, and it was like it had the drop down menu that you could send in your own CE-2 to get modded, and I was like, I was like, that's $150. Like I can't. Like, that was like $1 million.
Yep.
So and then to send it out to be modded, and then the value could go down. So like I just never did it.
Yeah.
And so I ended up buying an old CS9 for like $50, and it wasn't bad.
No.
But like in my head, I was like, I have to have a CE-2.
Yeah.
And then that's when the obsession started, and I just bought. Over time, I bought all of them in every state.
This guy.
Yeah.
This guy. Well, let's let me take the cable from you, and let's hear these things with some humbuggies.
Yeah.
Shout out Gearman, dude, and his humbuggies. Love that dude. All right, so here we go. This is going to be the neck pickup. I'm going to back it off ever so slightly. And silver screw. Definitely a completely different character.
Yeah, and I'll be straight up with you. The Keeley sounded better.
Yeah.
Than with that, because, like I said, it had that little bit of hi-fi cut through. For humbuckers, there's a little more, it's a little more muddy, or,
Totally.
It's not muddy, but you get what I'm saying. Like,
oh, yeah. No, absolutely.
I felt like that pedal worked best with that. So if I was in the studio with all these and going like, okay, for this track, I'm going to use that. But if I'm using my Esquire here, I would have used the silver screw.
Well, one thing I do want to check out, especially with these, is like normally, since you guys watching know I like chorus on my clean tones, and I like to do echo with some arpeggiated stuff. So I'll do a quick passage with all three of them so that we get some sort of idea of what it's going to sound like. Middle position, tried to match the volume on the two pickups so that we get something maybe just a little bit cleaner, but let's check it out. interesting.
Yeah.
The silver screw worked better.
100%. And I think the Keeley was not the fit for that. In my order, it would have been silver screw, blue hippo, then Keeley.
See, this is why you need to justify all these multiple pedal purchases.
This is why I had 9 CE2s at one point.
This guy. He's going to kill me. As if I didn't get enough pedals in already for demos. This guy's got to come in and bring stuff like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, like in context, all 3 of these serve a purpose, and they all sound roughly the same. But I have to say, like, between all 3, the silver screw is the best.
Yeah. It's my favorite all-around chorus. I have, like I said, I have a couple of them, but I use them. I have, like, different boards, but I usually have either a black label silver screw or a black screw on one of them at some point. And we haven't even done it. Let's jump into the Speedy Mod on the Keeley.
Yes.
So why don't you go to how about we go back to the neck pickups? It sounded excellent on that. Play a little bit. I'm gonna start rolling that rate. Oh, real quick before we go on.
Go for it.
The rate back here is set. It's actually matched at the middle setting here because remember, you're not losing any of the rate. You're only gaining more of it.
Got
so
it.
it backs it off a little bit. So okay. So
let's try this.
Yeah.
I forgot how to play that one, but it works.
What's interesting is the Blue Hippo has a vibe setting, which I would like to. Why don't we A and B the 2 of those?
Okay.
And let's
Now, one quick thing though, the vibe does cut the dry signal, so we're gonna get vibrato.
Yeah.
So you want to try that?
Yeah, I want to hear that versus like where we're at right now. So
Got it.
here, so
All right.
play a little bit and then I'll switch in on that.
That's a very appropriate sound for the season. That fast vibrato. Get our Halloween songs on.
That reminds me of there was an old Ibanez, like, what was that Gray series where you could push the tone lock?
The tone lock. Yeah.
There was a chorus flanger that tone right there is within that. Yep. That. Okay. You know what that is right there? That noise. That is when you shoot the hose out in Dig Dug. That's. Yeah. I'm telling you. Go play Dig Dug and you'll get your Blue Hippo tone lock.
Well, one thing that I like to do, I don't know about you guys and your choruses, but I do tend to do the Zach Wildy thing and run chorus into some dirt. So let's go back to our original bank here. Let's dirty it up and let's see how these things sound in front of the dirt. It's the silver screw for me.
See, for me, I was more towards the Blue Hippo or Keeley.
Really?
Yeah. Do you mind if I?
Yeah. Let me hear this thing through with that.
No, I want to play.
Oh.
Yeah. I have an idea.
All right. Let's hear his idea.
My idea is Zach Wild pinch harmonics.
Oh dear Lord.
I'm dropping it down
to Z. Insert speed up. Do the Blue Hippo now.
Okay.
Careful with that headstock.
I
know. I don't think I've told him all those stories yet. It's okay.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, off-camera topic here.
Smiling at me.
Yep, sure as shit is. You know what's interesting for me, though, is that as you were doing that, I realized something now that I'm not the one playing it. We've talked about the silver screw having this subtlety about it, having this kind of perfect tone just with everything right at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
I feel like what we have with the silver screw is because of that subtlety and because I feel like the level doesn't get boosted as it comes out, kind of gets like, the signal just gets modulated. That tends to handle heavier distortion and clean it up just a little bit.
Okay.
Whereas, like we have with the Keeley, that does have a little bit more output, a little bit more of the hi-fi nature, but it helps with like a cut overall of the guitar signal. When it comes to the Blue Hippo, we get a little bit of a middle ground between the two CE2s, where there is a little bit of extra dirt and grit that comes from putting that effect on, but I feel like it's much easier to get subtle tones out of the Blue Hippo than it is to get it out of the Keeley Mod one. And I say that by saying none of these are bad.
Yeah.
It just really depends on the context of you as the player and what you're doing at any given time.
And I think if we turn the depth up on the CE2 a little bit, it will kind of match where we're going with that. But in all honesty, it's like I feel Zach Wild is not exactly a subtle player when it comes to chorus. So I would go with the more modern, either the Blue Hippo or the Keeley.
Well, let's go ahead and do that same thing, and I'll turn up the depth as we start going through some of these.
Okay, yeah, we'll start at where we are, which is a mid.
Zach Wilde is not for subtlety. No. And I think we've proven something here today. One, chorus is awesome. Two, that you need multiple chorus pedals. And three, I love chorus even more than I did.
Really going for it on the third one there.
Yeah, really going for it one on there. It's information brought to me from on high. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad we got to kind of set these up and do this because it shows you that even though you have the same pedal, you can use it as like an artist uses a different brush. You know what I mean? I would use the CE-2, the silver screw, for more clean stuff that I wanted to be subtle. If I wanted to cut through more, I'd go for more of a modern take on it, like the Blue Hippo or the Keeley Mod.
Yeah.
So
I'm absolutely 100% there with you.
Cool.
Glad I have the Blue Hippo. Might need to get a CE-2 in the collection for reasons. What reason?
Because you like chorus.
Because I like chorus.
Yeah.
Come on, people. The 80s was not that bad. Anyway, having said all that, Dakota, this was really fun. Thank you so much for bringing over the two CE-2s.
My pleasure.
This was really cool to be able to compare and get a little snapshot of a history of a circuit and the different points in that history and really what changed and what didn't. So if you guys enjoyed this, please let us know. You can give Dakota a follow over on Instagram at DakotasCoolGuitars as well as at Dakota Plays Guitar. And if you liked this, please let us know by using the comment section below. You can click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you never miss a video. It's also very appreciated if you go check out my Patreon page for super secret stuff, and hopefully the more of you that go to the Patreon, we can do more stuff like this to fund buying cool vintage pedals and being able to do awesome things like this. So, for Dakota, I am SeanPierceJohnson, and I wish you all out there great tone and happy stomping. Cheers, my friends. We'll see you next time.